Don't worry about the language. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode on the channel. Before we get started, please make sure to like and subscribe to the channel and to share the video. It would definitely help the algorithms. I did a video earlier today on, it was a live stream actually, with a pretty good turnout. We were talking about the traditional masculine role for Muslim men. On this video though, it's going to be a little bit different, and it kind of got me thinking a little bit while I was doing that video, and I thought I would do my reflections on Kevin Samuels, given that he passed away recently. So for those of you that don't know, Kevin Samuels is a relationship type of guru. He did fashion, he did perfumes and colognes. He talked about overall male wellness and attracting the right partner, and he talked about relations, right? Women that were high quality women and things like that. And he approached it from a very secular, I should say probably non-Islamic view. Definitely a controversial figure out there. He would have a show, a live stream, which like thousands of people would join. I mean, very well done. He had great video aesthetics, like the background would be wonderful. He had great video quality, and just a general good format for the show. I never really tuned into a live show or watched him too regularly. I came across some of his content earlier this year and would see things here and there. And I know he's not a Muslim, and so a lot of the stuff that he would say I didn't really resonate with too much in terms of how he viewed picking a spouse and being committed to a spouse or a woman in that way. But I do think that there was some positive things that he was doing, and certain, especially in the format in which he would discuss with women that would call into the show, some of them very angry, and he would have a discussion in a civil manner and keep it civil and basically probe them and ask them questions to the point that it would make them reflect on what exactly their expectations are, and if the expectations are reasonable. He would ask young women, when they want to get married, what they look like, how attractive they are, what do they expect from a man, how many vacations they want, how many children they want. And he would take all of that and tabulate it in his mind, and as an expert in that field, and would say, well, listen, what you're expecting or what you want is a bit above what you are what you are capable of. And some he would say, no, you can get that, but you have to make some minor changes and blah, 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 blah. So it was more of that kind of show. However, what's really interesting to me on this issue is that Kevin Samuel wasn't someone, from what I can tell over the last year of seeing some of his content, was not someone extremely vulgar, was not extremely disrespectful. He was very straightforward, but he never really disrespected people. I mean, he wasn't some guy that would come on and just intentionally try to, make someone feel bad, but rather he was very direct and forthwith in his arguments. And I think some people misconstrued that with being offensive and being rude, but I think it's just being direct. And some of these women out there, they're not used to that, because the way women talk to each other and how men talk to each other are entirely different. But I prefer the male approach. It's very direct, very to the point, and it gets you the message. You don't have to beat around the bush to get it. And I think some of these women needed to realize that. They needed to hear that from a male perspective, that this is how men communicate, and this is exactly how we think. The way that we communicate is the way that we think. We're very methodical in the way that we think, and I think he provided that experience to women, and some of them were actually many of them were very receptive. They were appreciative of the fact that he did that, and he helped them in many ways. And there were some women that just weren't having it. They were just really upset. They were really distraught and bothered by the way that he was, talking about issues about being older and not married, or being physically unfit and trying to get married, or finding a spouse, or having unreal expectations, or thinking that they were 10 out of 10s when he would say, I'd say at best you're like a 7 or 6, right? And things like that are what would really, people took offense to. And now I'm not saying I agree with the methodology and how he did that and all that. However, it was not disrespectful. It wasn't meant to be something that was like, I'm going to roast people. But yet some of these women were just losing it. They would go on in Clubhouse and they would go on YouTube videos and make reaction videos, and they would essentially just, badmouth the man, and they would insult him and use ad hominems, and they would wish death on the man. And that is no different than in his death. I find it very funny that these people are these extreme leftist, modern woke boss women are rejoicing in the fact that a man died, in a horrible way. I mean, it was very sad. From what I can tell, there was a woman that was there, and she was a nurse, and she saw him having a heart attack, and she tried to revive him and save him, but it was just too late, and there was nothing you could do. His time was there, and that was it. And there was a 911 call where you hear this conversation, and people are just relishing in the fact that he died. Kevin Samuels died alone, and he, look at him, and this is what he gets, and and they were rejoicing in this, and that makes me think that why would you do that? I mean, these people did not. If a dictator died in front of them, they haven't rejoiced as much. And this was a man that would just have a YouTube channel. I mean, he wasn't like a world leader. He wasn't, popular to the majority of the world. I'm sure, surely in certain spaces, he was popular. But, to have that much hate for someone who just literally opened his own channel in his own space and attracted people to his content that apparently wanted to listen to it, they were that angry. It wasn't like they were being forced to listen to it or forced to adopt the idea. But there are many people in the manosphere, like Mediocre Tutorials and Reviews. I like some of his content. I watch it. I think it's nice. People like him that also benefited from Kevin Samuels and had a chance to meet with them and speak with them. And he's also a very respectful person and never really, gets too much into vulgarities and discussing things like that. He'll just be very direct about what he feels. And he would do reactions to certain videos, and you would see how unhinged some of these women would become. Right. And it's because, I think sometimes the truth hurts. And I think even in his death, they could not help but relish in it. And I think that's very telling of how much hatred this extreme leftist, liberal, feminist movement has towards traditional men and men that want to keep that tradition alive. It's very, very telling. I think it should give insight to other men watching that, hey, this is how much hatred there is for you as a traditional man from that side of the aisle. Very disturbing that someone who takes pride in being a well-dressed, a well-mannered, articulate, informative, educational man, that was a problem to them. They saw that as a threat. But I did find one funny meme, to end this episode or to end this little talk. I don't want to keep it too long, but to end this, I did find a very, very funny meme, and it was on Twitter, and it says, it had a wonderful picture of Kevin Samuel where he was really dressed up really nice. And he was a very well-dressed man. He definitely had style, and he had that aesthetics. Like you could tell he embodied that. He had a nice fitted suit. He had good ties. He was very clean cut, well-groomed, enjoyed good sense, and enjoyed nice things around him. And so they had a picture of him in one of those settings, and it says, Kevin Samuels is dead, but you're still fat. And I think that meme really embodies everything that Kevin Samuels was talking about, that you can hate him, you can complain and whine, but reality is reality, right? Hating on Kevin Samuels or men like Kevin Samuels is not going to change your condition. You are going to be the way you are until either A, you fix that, if it's fixable, or B, you have lowered your expectations, or at least come back to earth and not have these unreal expectations. And I think that meme really kind of embodies that whole vibe that Kevin Samuels was projecting out to the world on his YouTube videos. That's all I got for this episode. I just wanted to make it a quick thing because I know a lot of people do watch him, and some people were asking me my thoughts on it. I'm not an expert in his content. I don't embrace everything that he believed in, or I don't know too much about the man itself. I've only seen maybe, I would say 20, 30 videos of his and clips here and there. But that's not enough to know somebody on a personal level or even be familiar with all of their content. But I can definitely see from what I've seen out there there that the man was someone who definitely carried himself well, and he had some positive things and some negative things, and that was it, right? For me as a Muslim, I'm indifferent to his content in general. Not to say there wasn't any benefit to some of it, but that was just my observation, that the extreme left was just going absolutely bananas. They were just loving and relishing in the fact that this man died, as if like they've won the battle, right? And that should be very, very telling to people out there. But anyways, please, if you like the content, like and subscribe, and make sure to share the video. We will catch you on the next episode. Until then, let's talk about it. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Muzzy